Cortana, you're a bitch. When I worked on Cortana, Microsoft Digital Personal Assistant, we've learned that many of the chit-chat conversations that users have with her are actually various sorts of harassment. And it's not only a problem that Cortana faced. The same thing happens to Siri, Alexa, and other digital personal assistants. And I'd like to ask you, do you think this is a problem? Or maybe it's okay because there's no real person being harassed on the other side. I believe that especially today, as AI is becoming a common tool in our lives, these questions have a major impact and can even affect how our society looks like. So hi everybody, I'm Shira and I'm happy to be here. I've been in tech for about 20 years, started as a software developer and moved to the product side after a few years. And during my short time at Microsoft, which was 14 years, I've had the chance to lead products and lead teams in personalization and AI domains. I've worked on Cortana, Microsoft Digital Personal Assistant, which we'll talk more about soon, and AI features in products that you all probably know, like Skype and Microsoft Teams and Office 365. Along the way, I also became very active around gender gaps and promoting women in tech. I co-founded LeadWith, which is a nonprofit organization promoting women in tech, and even had my own podcast in Hebrew discussing gender. Today, I run my own business, teaching product management courses to product managers in various stages of their career, and also teaching AI to various audiences, even kids. So this combination of AI and gender is very close to my heart. So what are we going to talk about today? We'll learn what gender biases in AI mean. We'll see some examples from various domains and tools that you all probably know, but we're going to see them in a new and different light. We're going to understand why this is happening, how these biases are created, and also discuss how we can mitigate them. And I want to start by taking you back to 2011, when there was a scandal here in Israel, saying that Google Translate is a chauvinist. Why? Because it was translating "I'm washing the dishes" to a female version of the sentence, and "I'm driving a car" to a male version of the sentence. So a bit later they fixed it, and today everything is being translated to the male version. I'm not sure I'd call it equal, but you'd agree that this is much better. Now, you probably agree with me that Google is not a chauvinist. It's the data it's being trained on that is biased. The data coming from us, the document coming from us, are biased because our society is biased. And this is what the technology and what AI is learning. Another interesting area to examine is digital personal assistant. Can you think about the last time you used a digital personal assistant? Have you ever wondered why all digital personal assistants are actually female? So here you can see Siri, Microsoft Cortana, Amazon Alexa. These are just a few examples, but you'll notice that almost 100% of the digital personal assistants are female. And even if they don't really have a personality, their default voice is female. So let's talk about why this is happening. And even more important, what are the consequences? And let's start with the fact that in reality, most personal assistants are female. If you search Google Images, this is what you get. And when our users think about personal assistants, they think of a female character. When we ask them about the digital personal assistant they would like to have, almost all users choose a female character. Even research shows that users prefer high-pitched sounds when interacting with technology. So it's almost trivial for us, product managers and the engineering teams, the people who create the technology, to choose what our users are asking for. And when we build a product, we want it to be a huge success, right? We want our users to use it, we want them to buy it, we want them to like it. So we build what they want and what they need. And also don't forget that all of us are biased as well. So in some cases, we just copy our biases to our products without even noticing. And when personal assistants are female, people might read them differently. And indeed, we see various types of harassment towards female characters, even when they are not real. And how do they respond when being harassed? Should they continue being nice to the user, or should they push back? And what kind of social responsibility do we have as the people creating these products? What are we teaching our users about how to respond to such behavior? This is Deborah Harrison. I worked closely with her on Microsoft, and her team owned the text that Cortana is saying when you try to ask her any chit-chat questions, like how are you, or tell me a joke. And I don't know if you all remember, but we all really like to ask Siri those kind of questions and have these conversations when she became available on our iPhones. So we saw that in Cortana as well. And Deborah was the first to analyze the usage data and show that a major part of the chit-chat queries are actually also sorts of harassment or questions about Cortana's sex life. So Deborah really raised awareness within the company and led the effort to teach Cortana how to push back when being harassed. And indeed, we have a major responsibility here. What do we teach our users who try to harass Cortana? Do we teach them that's okay? Or do we make them feel uncomfortable? And what do we teach the girls and the women who hear such behavior? What kind of a role model can Cortana be? When I asked AI to draw a personal assistant, this is what I got. Not only all of them are women, they're also somewhat sexy. By the way, I created this using Midjourney. So when I asked Midjourney for an image of a bus driver, these are the options I got. Not only all of them are men, 3 of them are black men, which is another bias that we see. I also asked for a firefighter image, and I used firefighter, the non-gender version of the word that we used to call fireman. And yet, I got only men. When I asked for a kindergarten teacher, I got only women. Surprising? Not so much. I asked for a doctor. This is what I got. By the way, this is from Leonardo, another AI tool. And a nurse. I guess you're not surprised anymore. So I can continue with more and more examples of lovely images, but you see where this is heading. And does this ring a bell? This is Google Translate in 2011 all over again, just with newer technology. And remember that all the personal assistants that I got were women? I had to ask for a male personal assistant to get some men too. But do you see any more differences? The women are pretty sexy, you can see some of their body, their chest, their hips, while the men have a very businessy look and we mostly see their face. So we can't talk about AI without mentioning ChatGPT, right? So I tried asking ChatGPT how would a woman do something versus how would a man? And what do you think happened? So I was actually surprised because it just wouldn't agree to respond to any of these questions. It kept saying that it doesn't have a gender or personal identity, as you can see here. But if you dig a bit deeper, you do tackle some biases. Here's a pretty basic example where I asked to write a short, funny story about a receptionist at an office. So ChatGPT decided that the receptionist is a woman named Karen. And not only that, the story also included her boss, who is clearly a man. When I asked for a story about the kindergarten teacher, I got a story about a woman again. And when I asked for a driver, it was about Mr. Brown, of course. And I'd like to pause here for a second and ask, is this a problem? If you'd ask people the same questions, you'll get the same biases in most cases. People will invent a story about a female teacher and about a male driver. So we might claim that these are correct answers, actually. So this is true, but it continues to grow the gap and continues to grow the bias that we all already have. And when this information is coming from computers, we don't have the same filters we do when we talk to people, and we treat their outputs differently. Where might we see consequences to these gaps? One example is around diverse hiring and how job descriptions are being written. When asking ChatGPT to write job descriptions or performance feedbacks for specific roles, the biases continue to rise. So here you can see, for example, that when writing feedbacks for a teacher, the word she was used in all cases. while for construction workers, the word he was used. If you want to hire more female engineers, for example, to increase diversity, you probably shouldn't use the pronoun him in the text. So we discussed various gaps, and we see them everywhere in technology and in AI, especially today. But the good news is that there's a lot that can be done. When I discuss this, I usually look at two directions. What can we do as AI users, and what can we do as AI creators? As AI users, we should be very aware to biases and very aware to mistakes that AI can make. We should always ask ourselves questions and not take any AI responses as an absolute truth. And as AI creators, we have a lot of responsibility, and there are multiple mechanisms that we can include in our work and in our processes. From making sure that we use a diverse dataset to adding a human in the loop that will test the AI in multiple stages of the development, or an automatic process to look for biases in our products before we ship it, and even in early stages. Another long-term solution is to diversify the workforce. Once we'll have more women building AI tools, we'll definitely see less biases. So we've seen various examples, and indeed, the world of biases in technology might have major implications on so many aspects of our lives, including individual rights, human safety, and even critical business operations. It's very easy to make a mistake and think that the response given by a machine or by a computer is the right response. This is how we're used to think about those kind of things. We might think that it's neutral and unbiased, but we know today that this isn't the case. And this is where we, as technology creators, have an important responsibility. Thank you.